welcome to the Self-Made Book Channel. I'm Bianca.
And I'm Byron.
Today, we are joined by one of our fabulous self-made mentees, Juliet. But not only is she a fabulous mentee, she was also the winner of our elevator pitch competition this month. So, Juliet.
Hey. Hey.
Well, first thing we have to do is we have to get this elevator pitch out of the way. We have to hear it again. I know we're putting
my heart, no?
here. No, well, however you want to deliver it, as long as you're not reading, because we don't read in the self-made family. So give us your elevator pitch, tell us who you are and what you do.
Oh, goodness. My name's Juliet. I am a publisher and I publish beautiful Black books written by beautiful Black children. I've published 14 books to date and worked with about 37 authors. I was previously a senior deputy head of an Ofsted outstanding secondary school, and I run literacy workshops for children to help them improve their reading and their writing, and and then work towards that, them to become published authors, basically.
Excellent.
So, have you had any? I know we've had some calls together. Right, before we get into this, have you had a calls with Bianca?
No, but Bianca, I met you before.
No, but
I met you before.
That doesn't count. I just wanted to get on record out here that one of my mentees.
Wow.
One.
I see where he's going with that one.
I see this.
You never see what's coming until it hits you with me.
Right. So we're not going to talk about the fact that I delivered the session.
No.
And my training was what supplemented this greatness.
No.
It was a very good session.
Thank you very much.
We'll give you a little pound back. So how did you get in the industry that you're in? And why is it that you've chosen to be in this industry?
Okay, so my kind of backstory is that I was a senior deputy head in a secondary school. I've been in education for about 20 plus years. And during my time, or my cycle in education, I had a heart attack. I had a heart attack in 2013. I had quadruple bypass surgery in 2014. And I've got 3 children. And my youngest was about 5 at the time and refused to come home. He wanted to save my mum because he thought I was going to die. And I referred him to play therapy through the GP, and he used to come back from the sessions and write down his thoughts and feelings. And my daughter, who was much older, said, Mum, look what he's writing. Let's put it in a book. And I thought anything to kind of help him and to heal him. And we did, and I published it like a real book. So we got a barcode, registered with the publishing company network, put it on Amazon, and he won an award. He was 7 at the time when the book was published. He won an award. And I saw the difference that he made to him. He was a published author at 7 with awards and just feeling completely different. His character completely changed. So he spent the time every year in publishing a book. I mean, he's got 7 out now. He's on his 8th book at the moment.
Wow.
But when it came to writing a book from a female perspective, I then had to find a girl. Mm-hmm. And then when I found the girl, the mum told me the same thing that I experienced. She was saying, oh my God, Brianna is so confident now. She's come out of herself and she's even got an Instagram page. And in the end, it just kind of, spiraled from there. So yeah, that's how it started.
And that's incredible, because I think we sometimes overlook how much children have to say or want to say, or how much is going on inside of them that can actually be illustrated in a book, right? So that's really interesting. And is it mostly kind of fiction, or is it non-fiction? Is it poetry? What are the books?
Most of the books are non-fiction. So what the children have to do is research. So you can all research. Not everybody is creative in that way. So we come up with titles that primarily deal with research. So one of our bestsellers is a series called Hey Black Boy. And they pick 12 role models, local, national, international. And they talk about when they look in the mirror, what do they see? And they see a certain characteristic, and then we work out which role model fits that characteristic. So when it came to determination, my son was saying, Usain Bolt, he's determined. When it comes to, courage, it might be Martin Luther King. And then we also use grassroots people. So he's part of a project called Manhood Academy. So when it comes to perseverance, he wants to pick his mentor, Davis. So people might not know all these people, but we mix and match with that. So he had to go away and find out, when they were born, where they were born, what's unique about them and stuff. So when he got all the information together, then he start writing. And we're in like the 5th Hey Black Boy Girl series. And they really, really sell really well. So yeah. I mean, the most recent one that we've got out is this one. And it's called Why Are They Crying? And 2 girls have written this, 2 young girls. And it's about racism. One of them, when it was all Black Lives Matter was all kicking off last year, she gave me a call and said, Auntie, I want to write my 2nd book about what's happening now. I said, what do you mean what's happening now? She said, racism. And I thought, oh God, how does a 12-year-old write about racism? So we ended up getting them to think about certain statements that relate to Black people. So it was, why are they crying? Why are they kneeling? Why are they angry? Why are they frustrated? And then they checked all the social media from different celebrities. So under Why Are They Angry, they actually printed the words of John Boyega, because he was very angry in what he was saying. When it comes to Why Are They Frustrated, it was Leona Lewis. She was kicked out of that shop because she was Black and her dad was Black. So a lot of the stuff they do is research-based because it's easier to kind of, work with. So all they have to be is committed and dedicated. They don't have to be super kids, but enthusiastic kids. So that's, how we kind of work it.
Would you say that book writing process is a form of therapy?
Absolutely, but also it's a form of improving their education attainment, because we're working on literacy, we're working on their spelling, we're working on their grammar, we're working on their punctuation. In the pandemic last year, I worked on Zoom with 25 authors from all around the world. Someone was in Zimbabwe, someone was in Hackney, someone was in Derby, and I got them to interview their grandparents. So some of them had never spoken to their grandparents before. One of the parents was saying that her daughter always saw her granddad as smelly and that strange man who sits in the corner. And after she got his story about what it was like when he was living in Jamaica, how he grew up and the struggles that he went through, it was a completely different thing. Their relationship is completely different. And the mum's saying, she's always down his house now. She really, really is connecting with him. And we end up with beautiful legacy stories. So we've got 25 stories in that book somewhere. There it is. So our roots are beautiful stories of our grandparents and great-grandparents. So that one there.
So what message would you say to any children or parents who either are interested in becoming an author or interested in using their writing as form of therapy? What would you say to them?
I think the first thing is what I would encourage parents to do as a teacher and as a mother and as a lover of books is to get their children to read. Read to them. If they're cooking, get the children to read to them. Reading is the key. I mean, for me, I grew up on a council estate in Hackney, and I never got on a plane till I was about 23. I mean, my kids have been on a plane since they were 6 months old. My son stayed at the Burj Al Arab with me in Dubai for my birthday. They've got experiences that we never had. But for me, even though I'd never traveled, I read books. So I went to Narnia. I'd been to Bethlehem. I'd been to, I'd looked through the looking glass or been through the wardrobe because I read. And I think that I encourage everybody, first and foremost, get your children to read. Now we're so electronic and device-led. All right, read on a Kindle then, if that's the case. But, I'm homeschooling my son. And most of the things that I do, or the biggest teaching tool I use is a book. So he read Akala, for example. And from Akala's Natives, he's looking at the 80s, Thatcherism, the New Cross Fire, the Brixton riots. So all that stuff he's learning through reading. We read Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime. He's learned about the Hutus and the Zulus and apartheid. So reading is key. And once they crack the reading, then we can work on the writing. For me, you don't have to be gifted and talented to do a book. You just have to be enthusiastic. Because a lot of it is research. But so that's really it, really.
So if a parent wanted, they can see their child is maybe interested or maybe talented, because I think there are some children who are just naturally gifted at writing, right? And are at articulating themselves. What would they do? How would they prepare themselves, or how would they get in touch with you in order to look at that publishing route?
Okay, well, we run half-termly workshops. We used to do it in computer suites before the pandemic. We do it via Zoom now. And we're starting back again in September. So we run free workshops where we work with children on ideas, on their literacy, and we see who kind of is committed to doing what they're doing. And usually from that cohort, we may get our next book, basically. So we do, we just brainstorm ideas. They, from the ridiculous to the sublime, and we see what happens from there.
Excellent. I think we just lost you for a moment. There we go. You're back.
Apologies.
So, what would you want your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
Oh gosh, I want my legacy to be, I don't know, I've done so many different things. Publishing is an offshoot of teaching and education. I've written 2 books myself, because you can't be a publisher and ain't written your own books. And one of my books is about my legacy as a teacher. So it's called 39 Weeks, Life Behind the School Gates. And basically it's about my 20 years in teaching. And when you're a teacher, you always have legacy, because a lot of my ex-students, Chipmunk, the rapper, he was my head boy at the school that I worked at. Emmanuel Frimpong, the footballer, he came to my school. Bumped into a kid who was so naughty at school, and he said, "Miss," you're walking in Sainsbury's, and they go, "Miss." I said, "Hi, Ricky, how you doing?" He says, "I'm fine, Miss. What are you doing?" "I'm a cardiovascular surgeon." He's a cardiovascular surgeon, So my legacy is already set from being a teacher, because everybody whose lives you touch, every parent whose lives you've touched, who's gone on to do something, it kind of stems from the effort that you put out, basically. But for now, my legacy is still working with children to be able to do magnificent things. And that's kind of really it, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So final question for those who are interested in going down this publishing route and they want their children involved. Is there an age limit or age range? And how long
Yes.
does it take? So once they've been on your course, what happens next?
Okay, so to qualify, you need to be age 7 to 15, and you also need to be a Black child, right? So primarily what I'm looking at with this publishing company is about legacy for the Black community. So now, before people, kids came up with their crazy ideas, now I'm a bit more focused, primarily because of the legacy of the Black community. So I've got one child who's just in the process of finishing a book on the Windrush scandal, from a child, telling that story. I've got another child who's working on a book called, what is it called? It's Roland Adams, the Roland Adams story. And this is a young boy who lived in South East London who was murdered prior to Stephen Lawrence. And if the police had dealt with that case properly, Stephen Lawrence would probably still be alive. So we're kind of taking risks with racism, with Windrush, we're trying to take risks and get children, passionate about what's happened, what's to happen, and their legacy after us. So I'm kind of shaping it into more of a legacy organization. So it is Black authors, 7 to 15, and who are enthusiastic. Once we come up with the idea, once we agree it and we start the process, it takes about 4 months maximum from idea to actual book on Amazon, or book on the website, or book in W.H.
Okay, fantastic.
Excellent.
You started breaking up at the end there.
I think it's perfect.
That's okay, it's not your fault. But you know what's interesting about that is 4 months is short. Like from our perspective of doing traditional, publishing, sometimes it takes 2 years. So I love that. The fact that they can.
It's not short for a child though, because
that's
ages.
In
child years, it's like long.
I'm saying in my years it's long. I would love to get a book out in 4 months. I think this is phenomenal, and it's such a great opportunity for children, not only to learn, but to embrace reading and writing, to learn about their legacy, and then to put something out there that will contribute to their legacy and that of their family. So it
absolutely.
So
because when I was growing up, being an author was a middle-class white thing, primarily middle-class men thing. And even with the curriculum now, the books that you're examined on at GCSE are the dead white authors, and it's like, this is nothing that we can't access, we can't do, we can't contribute to. So I'm quite passionate about that. And for me, working in a city school for a long time, it was all about, you know, addressing behavior, addressing kids focusing. But when kids are doing something that they love, when kids are involved or engaged in something that they can have some meaning to, you know, you see a completely different child, a completely different set of behaviors. So that's kind of where I'm at. You know, I'm not going to sit down here and say, oh, knife crime, gun crime, this crime, that crime. I'm going to look at the positive and say, look, this author, that, you know, that writer or whatever, because I've seen the positivity. My son could have ended up being upset that he thought I was going to die and start having rage and anger issues and things like that. But we can flip that script and flip it with something positive and something lasting and that something has legacy. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment.
I love that. So, so powerful. Thank you so much, Juliet. How do people find you? If they would like to get in contact with you and learn more about what you do and the workshops, how would they find you?
Okay, so the website is www.blackjackmedia.com, and Blackjack doesn't have a K, so it's Black Juliet Angela Coley, that's my name. So blackjackmedia.com. On the socials, it's Blackjack Media, or you search out for me, and you'll find me, and you'll find the books. So yeah.
Okay, fab. Well, we'll make sure we'll put it down below so everyone can find it and get in touch with you. But thank you very much for joining us today, and congratulations again on your work on your elevator pitch.
Hey!
It was very good. It was a job well done.
Thank you for your support, because we don't know it all, and I fell short when it came to business and looking at it as a business and looking at it from a different perspective. And the things that I've learned on this program have been invaluable. So thank you.
Thank
and when you do your next book after this book, there's loads
here we go. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you everyone else for tuning in. I've been Bianca.
And I'm Byron.
And Self-Made
is success.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.